The Galactic Council had ruled the known universe for 12,000 years. 17 species sat in the Great Circular Chamber on Station Prime, their representatives speaking for trillions of beings across 10,000 worlds. They had conquered, absorbed, and dominated every civilization they had ever encountered. Their method was simple and effective. Find a new species, observe them, wait until they developed faster-than-light travel, then deliver the tribute order. The tribute order was not a request. It was a command backed by the combined military might of 17 interstellar empires. New species were given a choice that was not really a choice at all. Pay tribute in resources, technology, and labor, or face complete annihilation. In 12,000 years, not a single species had refused. The math was too simple. Fight and die, or submit and survive. Ambassador of the species stood before the great viewing screen in the council chamber. His gray skin shimmered under the artificial lights as he prepared to witness another successful integration. The humans had achieved faster-than-light travel 7 standard cycles ago. They had established 3 small colonies beyond their home system. Their technology was primitive by galactic standards. Their military consisted of a handful of warships that would crumble against even a minor council patrol fleet. This would be easy. It was always easy. The transmission connected, and the human representative appeared on the screen. She was a woman named Admiral Sarah. She wore a simple military uniform without decoration. Her dark hair was pulled back, and her eyes held a calmness that found almost unsettling. Behind her, the bridge of a human warship was visible, filled with officers working at their stations. High Chancellor, the supreme leader of the council, rose from his throne. He was a species of massive reptilian beings who had dominated the council for 3,000 years. His voice boomed across the chamber as he spoke the words that had brought countless civilizations to their knees. Species designation, human. Planet of origin, Earth. You have been observed and by the Galactic Council. Your development of faster-than-light travel has triggered the protocols of integration. You are hereby ordered to submit to Council authority. You will provide tribute as follows: 40% of all mineral resources extracted from your territories, 20% of your agricultural output, full access to all technological developments, and 10,000 citizens annually for labor redistribution. Paused for effect. He enjoyed this moment. He had delivered this speech to 37 species during his reign, and the reaction was always the same: fear, confusion, desperate attempts at negotiation, then acceptance. Failure to comply will result in the immediate deployment of Council enforcement fleets. Your species will be classified as hostile and targeted for extinction. You have 100 standard hours to deliver your formal surrender. This is not a negotiation. This is your only warning. The chamber fell silent. 17 species watched the screen, waiting for the inevitable response. Some of them remembered their own submission. They had surrendered within 6 hours. They had taken 40. They had tried to run and were hunted down over the course of a year before the survivors finally submitted. Admiral did not flinch. She did not look afraid. She did not look confused. She simply stood there for a long moment, as if processing the words she had just heard. Then she leaned slightly toward the camera. No. The word hung in the air like a physical force. For several seconds, nobody in the council chamber moved, felt his heart stop. In 12,000 years of recorded history, no species had ever responded with a single word of refusal. There had been attempts at negotiation, pleas for mercy, requests for more time, but never a simple, clean rejection. High Chancellor's massive jaw dropped slightly. His reptilian eyes blinked in confusion. I do not believe you understood the message, human. Perhaps there is a translation error. We are offering you survival. The alternative is the complete destruction of your species. Admiral's expression did not change. There is no translation error. We understood perfectly. Our answer is no. Slammed his clawed fist against his throne. You cannot refuse. Your species is young and weak. You have 7 warships. We have 7 million. Your largest colony has 200,000 inhabitants. We control worlds with populations in the billions. You have no allies, no resources, no chance of survival in a conflict against us. And yet, Admiral said quietly, our answer remains no. The council chamber erupted in chaos. Representatives shouted in 17 different languages. Some demanded immediate military action. Others called for a second communication attempt, certain that the humans simply did not understand what they were facing. Ambassador stood frozen at his station, unable to process what he was witnessing. High Chancellor raised his hand for silence. His yellow eyes narrowed as he stared at the human woman on the screen. Admiral, I will give you one opportunity to reconsider. Think of your children. Think of your civilization. Everything your species has built over thousands of years will be reduced to ash if you do not surrender. Is your pride worth the extinction of humanity? Admiral actually smiled. It was not a cruel smile or a defiant one. It was the smile of someone who knew something that others did not. Chancellor, let me tell you something about humanity. We have spent our entire existence fighting. We have fought nature. We have fought disease. We have fought each other. We have survived ice ages, plagues, world wars, and the near destruction of our own planet. Every major advancement in our history came from struggle. Every great achievement was born from pain. She stepped closer to the camera. You see our small fleet and our young colonies, and you assume we are weak. You see our limited technology, and you believe we will crumble. But you are making a calculation error that every enemy in our history has made. You are measuring our power by what we have, not by what we are willing to do. Scales rippled with irritation. Words, meaningless words from a doomed species. Then let me give you some meaningful information, Admiral continued. While you were preparing your tribute demand, our scientists were studying your technology. While you were our population for labor extraction, our engineers were adapting your faster-than-light systems. While you were writing your threats, our soldiers were training for a war you never expected us to fight. She pressed a button on her console. The behind her changed to show a tactical display. Hundreds of red dots appeared, scattered across council space. Do you recognize those locations, Chancellor? Leaned forward, his eyes scanning the display. His scales turned pale as recognition dawned. Those are our fuel depot stations. Every single one of them, Admiral confirmed. 93 stations supplying your enforcement fleet. Your observers missed the small ships we sent through the dark spaces between systems. They missed the teams we placed in your own territory over the past 7 years. You were so focused on us for submission that you never considered we might be you for something else. The council chamber descended into panic. Representatives screamed for answers. How had the humans penetrated council space? How had they mapped the fuel network? How had any of this happened without detection? Admiral continued, her voice steady amid the chaos. Now, here is what is going to happen. We are going to decline your tribute order. We are going to continue building our civilization in our own territory. And you are going to leave us alone. If you attempt to send enforcement fleets, we will detonate the devices we have placed at your fuel depots. Your entire military logistics network will collapse in a single moment. Your fleets will be stranded across the galaxy without the ability to refuel or return home. Your empire will fragment before you can mount a second attempt. High Chancellor's voice trembled with rage and fear. You are bluffing. No species would dare. That is exactly what I expected you to say, so let me show you something. Admiral nodded to someone off-screen. The tactical display zoomed in on a single location. It was Fuel Depot 12, a massive station orbiting a gas giant in the system. As the council watched, a small flash of light appeared near the station. Then another. Then the entire structure erupted in a cascade of explosions. Within seconds, the depot was reduced to expanding debris. That was not a bluff, Admiral said. That was a demonstration. We destroyed a depot in a system with no civilian population to prove our capability and our willingness. The next 92 are in position and ready. Choose carefully, Chancellor. Silence gripped the council chamber. Stared at the debris field on the screen, his mind racing through possibilities. A military strike against Earth would take weeks to organize. Without the fuel network, most of his enforcement fleet would be unable to respond. The humans had effectively held the entire council hostage with a handful of ships and some explosives. Ambassador found himself doing something he had never done before. He was admiring an enemy. The humans had been watching the council for years, learning their weaknesses, placing their pieces, and waiting for the perfect moment to reveal their hand. They had turned their apparent weakness into the ultimate weapon. Admiral spoke again. "We do not want war, Chancellor. We simply want to be left alone. Allow humanity to develop in peace, and your fuel network will remain intact. Threaten us again, and you will watch your empire crumble around you. The choice is yours." Looked around the council chamber. He saw fear in the eyes of every representative. For the first time in 12,000 years, the Galactic Council was not in control. A species they had dismissed as primitive had outmaneuvered them completely. "How long have you been planning this?" finally asked. "Since the day we detected your observation probes entering our system," Admiral replied. 7 years of preparation for one word: no. The High Chancellor sank back into his throne. His scales had lost their color. His grand presence had diminished to that of a confused old creature facing a reality he could not understand. "The Council will deliberate on this matter," he said weakly. "There is nothing to deliberate," Admiral responded. "You threatened us with extinction. We answered. Now you will live with the consequences of underestimating humanity. We suggest you use this experience as a lesson. The next young species you try to subjugate might not be as generous as we are." The transmission ended. The screen went dark. The council chamber remained silent for a long time. In the years that followed, the story of humanity's one-word response spread across the galaxy. It became a legend whispered among oppressed species. It became a warning taught in council military academies. It became the moment when the balance of power in the universe began to shift. The Galactic Council never sent another demand to humanity. They watched from a distance as the small species expanded, grew stronger, and formed alliances with others who had heard the story of their defiance. The Council's grip on the galaxy slowly loosened as more species found the courage to resist. All because of one word spoken by one woman who understood something the Council never had. True power does not come from the size of your fleet or the wealth of your empire. True power comes from the willingness to risk everything for the right to be free. And humanity had always been willing to risk everything.